This presentation will show you how to build a home network consisting of a domain controller, DHCP, file server, and client. In this video, we will show you how to build the domain controller so that you can contact the internet. And first, we will assume that you have already installed the domain controller. And what we're going to do is we have installed the function of the domain controller. And so all we have to do now is promote the server to a domain controller because we have installed the domain controller function on the server. Now we have to just take one more step and promote the server to a domain controller. So, and this will take let's see here. Add a new forest. So this will take a few seconds to. Okay, add a new forest, and the root name is acs.edcc.ctc.edu. So that is our root domain name. And next. Okay, so here it's asking for the password, so we're going to give it the password of PASSWORD1. Oops, 1. You wouldn't do this in practice. PASSWORD1, and then next, and next. And now we're going to wait here until the NetBIOS domain name pops up, which should be ACS. Okay, the NetBIOS domain name is ACS, and so we click Next, and have to wait a couple seconds. And then Next again, and Next. And now it's going to verify prerequisites for a domain controller operation, and that'll take a couple minutes, so we can pause the tape. Okay, so it gives us a bunch of errors. We don't care about that. And then we click Install, and so this will take another few minutes to do. So we will pause the tape. At this point, the domain controller server is finished installing and updated, and it has already automatically gone into restart. So that is the next phase of it to restart. Applying computer settings. At this point, the domain controller has finished installing, and now we are ready to go. Now the next thing that we have to do is, let's see here, install a add roles and features, and what we want to do is install, where did that go? Remote access right here. This is what's going to take us to the internet. Remote access. And then next, and next, and next. And then we're going to install routing and direct access. And when you click on routing, add features, it'll automatically get direct access also in VPNs. Then click next, next, and next, and finally install, and this will take a few minutes, so we will pause the recording. At this point, view installation progress. The feature installation of the remote access, direct access, and VPN has finally finished installing here. And as you can see from the installation bar, so we can close this. And okay, the next thing we have to do is okay, we go to settings, and then network, and we had set this up before, 2 network adapters. This one, the bridged adapter, will take us to the internet, and then the adapter 2, this is the internal adapter that will take us to the client, DHCP, and file servers. So okay, we can close that and then come back over here, and the next thing we do is come up to tools, come down to routing and remote access, and Thor, which is our domain controller, and we right click on that, configure and enable routing and remote access, and we select that, and then we come to next. Now this is where we want the network address translation. This is what gets us to the internet. Network address translation. We click on that, and then next. Okay, now we have to have a few things in here, so what we're going to do is reboot the computer, and let's see here, so that we can put a few things in there. And rather than reboot the computer, open network and file sharing, and then okay, change network addition. So okay, Ethernet. Then we want to rename this connection as Comcast, which is what leads us to our this leads us to the internet. And then this one, Ethernet 2, rename this connection as internal. This is what takes us to our client. So we're going to go to Comcast, right click on it, come down to properties, and then TCP4, double click on that. Okay, now we're going to use the following address, IP address, and we're going to use the IP address of the of our home router, because our home router is what leads us to the internet. So use this IP address. Let's see here, 10.0.0. Okay, this is, this is for the, this is the IP address of the NIC card, so we're going to give it the, we're going to put it on the same subnet as our home router, which is 10.0.0.1, and so we're going to put it very high, so it doesn't interfere with any addresses in between. So we're going to give it the address of 250, which is 254 is the highest address we can give it. So we're going to give it 250, and then the subnet mask is 255, and then the default gateway router is 10.0.0.1. Okay, so the default gateway router, this is the IP address of our home router, and this is what's going to take us out to the internet, the default gateway router. And then the preferred DNS server 127.0.0.1, and the since the our domain controller is also is a DNS server, we're going to alternate DNS server is 10.0.0.101. So we're going to point it back to itself, and then OK, and OK. And now we come to the internal router, and then properties and IPv4. Now here we're going to use the following IP address of this 10.0.0.0. I just decided that to give it the 101. That's just my design here. 10.0.0.101. Subnet mask 255, and then the default gateway, which let's see here. We don't need the default gateway for the internal the default gateway, and then we're going to put the DNS router at 10.0.0.101 default gateway. Okay, so we're going to have that. Okay, okay, and so that will give us fill in our 2 NIC cards. And what I want to do is I want to do a restart so that that'll it will perform. We will see those numbers when we do the routing and direct access. So right now I'm going to do a restart and power off the machine. At this point, we have rebooted the machine, and so we're going to go to Tools. We're going to finish the routing and remote access. So we go to Tools, down to Routing and Remote Access, and then it comes up to this Thor, which has this red dot right here, which means, hey, you need to configure and enable routing and remote access. So right-click on that, and it comes up to the welcome screen. Next, and then we come out to network address translation. Okay, and so this is what takes us to the internet right here. And then next, Okay, now we have, after we rebooted the machine, now we have both of these addresses, the Comcast, the external address, and also the internal address of 10.0.0.101. And so we're going to choose the Comcast, which is use this public interface to connect to the internet. And then next, and then finish. And all right, so that's done. Routing and remote access is configured on the server. So Thor local, and we see that it's has a little go ahead there. And so we'll close that window. Now what I want to do is bring up the command prompt, cmd, and we're going to ping 10.0.0.0.1, which is our home router. And see, that's just fine. And now I want to, okay, ping 8.8.8.8, which is Google. And so, yeah, we can reach Google now. Okay, so we can reach Google. Let's see if we can ping google.com. How about that? That's right. So we ping google.com and we get all this stuff. Time of this many seconds. And okay, so we're going to pause this here. At this point, we know that the domain controller can reach Google. So now we're going to go to the client and configure that so that it can so that we can get Google on the client. Okay, we're going to stop the recording here because we have finished configuring the domain controller, and now we're going to work on the client and the software. The recording software I have is not compatible with the client, so we're going to have to come back and show you that later.